Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of the series where we build a web application using Rust. In our previous episode, we started with a very basic HTTP server implementation. We utilized the library Routerify with Hyper, and we were able to create a simple web server. So today we are going to basically improve upon that, and we'll now start looking at how we can get to communicate with the database manager from the server as an API, and be able to actually fetch data and do something with that data. Another thing, I received a few comments that the font size was not big enough, and it was probably not very readable, as well as the background music in my last I think video was a little bit distracting. So hopefully things are much better this time, and thank you for the valuable feedback. It helps me make better videos. What I want to do today is basically we will start with refactoring a little bit of our server implementation right now. So as of yet, what we did is we implemented the listen function where we start our server to listen on a for the requests, and we'll try to improve this a little bit. Now, since we want to communicate with the database, the obvious basic way for us to be able to allow that would be, we will take the database sender that we've created. We're not utilizing that right now, but we saw that in our previous examples how we were able to utilize that by sending messages using this. We were able to actually communicate to the database manager and then request for a specific data that we need. We saw that in the previous episodes. So what I'm going to do now is basically I will improve our server implementation to also capture and store this database sender, so that we can basically use that for fetching the data from the API. So we'll start with some minor changes towards this. Okay, so let's go back to our server, and the first order of business which we will do, which makes perfect sense, is basically we will start with creating a server struct. Now one minor thing is, Hyper gives us also a server which we're utilizing, and so in order to avoid the name conflict, I'm going to alias the Hyper's server to Hyper server. So this will avoid running into issues. And so what we want to capture in our server instance would obviously be the DB sender. And what is this? The sender is a sender of a message, right? So we want to store this sender. Let's also start with the implementation. Obviously we will start with our constructor, and here we basically just receive the sender, and we will be returning this. Okay, simple enough. Let's import some of these libraries. So we want to get Tokyo sync MPSC sender. Message, right? So we have a constructor, and so we'll basically be utilizing this to create instantiate a server in the main, and then we will start listening on this instance. So let's move this now to be actually be on this thing, and on the server instance. And so all we have to do is change it to this, and this will allow us to do exactly what we need. And everything's looking pretty good now. Let's go back to the main, and so our implementation would change slightly, and it will basically become this. And so we will pass in the database transaction, the sender, basically the transmitter, and then on this instant we will be calling the listen await, just like we were doing previously. The only difference being we also have to import the server. This thing again, in order for us to actually import it, we would have to export it here, right? Once we have exported it, yeah, it's all fine. I think we're good. Cargo check looks good. Let's run it. So our server is running. Let's look at. Great. So we're back to square one, but obviously we refactored it a little bit. So now that we have a server, now we want to think a little bit about how we can leverage the database sender to actually make these API calls. So let's start looking a little bit at our the router that we built as of yet. Basically, we have the home handler and nothing else right now, but what we want to implement is the key handler. I mean, let's call this the redirect handler. And yeah, what we basically want to do within this handler is listen to the slash key, and so this key would actually represent the key in our URL map. And what we will try to do is we will try to look for a URL map given this key, right? We'll use the database sender to make that query. Once we let's say are able to successfully get the data, then we will try to redirect the user. We'll try to redirect the user to the URL which corresponds to this key. That's exactly what we will try to do. And so we want to start implementing a redirect handler. This is somewhat how this will look. The one thing we are missing here, however, is the router right now does not have access to the database sender. So now let's try to see how we can make that happen. I'll be making a few changes here to improve upon this. Obviously, I do not want to pass my sender here within the routes. Let's set that up within our server instance. And the way we'll be doing that is, instead of returning a router here, I mean all the other routes which we will implement subsequently will be returning a router. However, here specifically, because this is the entry point of sorts, here I'm going to return the router builder instead, which means basically I will not be building my route. And the reason for that is then that allows me to build my route within the server, right? And the reason this is useful is, of course, I can then look at the APIs which will allow us to be able to share the database sender with the routes in a slightly more nicer way. Let's fix the imports. We have to import router builder as well. Okay, we have that. Let me do a little bit of minor restructuring here. I think this looks better. Okay, so now comes to implementing redirect handler, or no, actually even before that, now that we have obviously built a router, what we are going to utilize is the data API. So now if you can see here, now the Routerify basically gives us a data API which we can use for typically use for managing state. Data that is shared across all route handlers, and so we'll utilize this to actually share our DB sender, right? And so what we can do here is basically just give it some data, and then we'll try to get that data in our route handlers. And so what we want to do, we want to share the DB sender, and we'll obviously clone it before sharing, which is the more idiomatic way of doing it, so that multiple producers basically, right? Or each route handler will typically become, which basically will become a producer of sorts, and be able to send to using the sender, and be able to get a response, and we'll be able to do that simultaneously or concurrently, right? And so now that we do this, what we can do within our route would be the sender is going to be here. So now this data allows us to be able to get it like this. Of course, we'll have to fix the imports a little bit, uh, we also need the key from the params, right? The key, and the way to do that would be we basically get it using the param API, right? And we have to unwrap it. This gives us the key, and now let's see, basically, what we want to do is to actually send the message to get the URL map. So for that we will to send, and then we will say message get URL map, and we will have to send the key. Instead of just sending the key, I'm going to utilize clone. Yeah, I think it's better to do this. And also we need to send the response. So for that we have to again create the one shot channel. So response, we will be sending the sender, right? Now this obviously has a potential to fail, and maybe we look at that. So once we've sent it, we have to await, and we will match on this for now, I guess, because there are two cases where okay, if it just succeeds, we don't have to do anything. But if there is an error, let's use our error tracing. Say unable to send message to AWS sender manager. So we have error. Okay, so this gives us okay, so now let's get the URL map. URL map, basically we can get it from Rx. The Rx await basically gets the URL map from the, we have to import the message now. Right, anything else? Okay, it's okay. So again, here also there will be two use cases. So we get the URL map, we just return this URL map. If there is an error, what I want to do now is, if there is an error, we can send back a 404, so saying that the URL does not exist or the key doesn't exist. So how do we send that 404? Basically we'll be returning a response with the status hyper status code. The 404 is not found, yes, and body something on these lines. I'm happy on that. So there's a reason I am doing an explicit return, by the way, because I wanted to end here. However, if this doesn't happen to be the case, as in there is no error, we want to then do the actual redirection, which we haven't done yet. And so for that, what we will do is, again, we'll build a new response. The status we are going to use is location. Oh no, actually, yeah. So we are going to add a header. Yeah, we want to use the location header, give it the URL map URL. The status code is going to be, actually we'll use the C other, which is 303. I think this is slightly more appropriate one to use, which basically tells the browser to redirect. And now we'll have to give it some body. Again, I'll just give it some some very basic uh, one second, you have to use format. Just thinking, maybe we'll create a macro for this. Sender failed. We want to capture two things again, right? We want to capture the failure and we want to capture the message, why or like which specific one failed. So we'll match $1 so if it succeeds we just pass on. We basically do nothing. Yeah, so this will become a bit simpler, right? So if we use sender fail, we can say slightly read slightly better. I basically the SQLX for some reason failed. Okay, so let match on $M. If it succeeded, we just pass it on. However, if there was an error, we want to do this return. Let's copy this. Believe this looks okay. So looks alright. Let's see what cargo says. This cargo run. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate to localhost 3000 here in the browser. As you can see, we get the URL mapper in Rust. Yeah, I think this is readable. Now, instead of just this thing, let's navigate to /GitHub. I do believe we have GitHub. Let's navigate to GitHub, and there you see it navigated. It looks weird because of the zooming, but it navigated to my GitHub profile. This is my desk, by the way, and you can see in the login it navigated to GitHub. Another minor quick test might be we can go to localhost 3000 and /LinkedIn. Now LinkedIn deleted, So it says key does not exist. Awesome. Alright guys, I think I'm gonna stop at this right now. And in our next episode, basically we'll work on creating a proper CRUD API for this. But however, we'll create a CRUD API, and so then that will allow us to be able to manage these URL maps using the API, and we'll see how that can be done. I think you should already have a fairly good idea of how it can be done, given that we are going to do similar kind of work as we are doing it in the redirect handler. The only thing is we'll try to see how we organize those routes, and then also we'll try to see if we can maybe add an authentication layer, because I don't want everybody to have access to the CRUD API. Alright guys, thank you so much everyone. Thank you for your continued support. Please do subscribe and share the video with your friends, people who are looking to learn Rust. Do like and as well as comment on the video. Please let me know your feedback, if you have any ideas, or if you have any ideas of improvement in terms of the video quality or even the code itself. If you think there are certain things that can be improved, do let me know, and I'll definitely incorporate those. It's all enjoy learning and building in with Rust. Have a good day guys. Thank you.